Many times it's that actual just sharing it with one person, because you talk about this shame and realizing, like, the minute you talk about it with somebody else, and a lot of times that's me. That's what we accomplished in our first call, is like, I just want to provide a safe place where you can actually tell the truth. And many times just getting it and realizing, like, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not a broken human being. You're not the only person that's struggling with this. Many times that's the biggest part for these guys, right? And that was me, is just getting this shame removed. So can you speak to the importance of just being honest and truthful with yourself and others?
Oh yeah. So one of the things that I actually prescribe to patients is radical honesty. I say, this month, when you're trying not to use, you can't tell a lie about anything. And it's not just that you can't lie about use. You can't even lie about why you were late for the meeting in the morning. You can't say the traffic was bad. You have to say, if someone asks you, hey, what's going on? You're late. You have to say, sorry, I just took too much time. I misjudged. I spent too much time drinking coffee and reading the paper. So you have to tell the truth about everything. Why is that so important? For a number of different reasons. But I'll start again with the pleasure-pain balance. We have this incredibly keen memory for the initial stimulus, whether it's pleasure or pain, but we're almost amnestic for the gremlins, what happens as a result of that stimulus, right? We don't remember that. It's crazy. So for example, my patients will talk about this euphoric recall of using their drug as being one of the main triggers for them to relapse, but they cannot or have difficulty accessing the memory for all the terrible things that happened after they used. The same thing happens with painful stimuli, right? We have a really vivid memory for painful stimuli. Like every day when I get up and I tell myself I need to get out of bed and exercise, all I can think about is how I don't want to get out of bed and don't want to exercise because it hurts, right? What I don't remember vividly is that those gremlins are agnostic to which side of the balance they hop on. And if I press on the pain side with exercise, they'll hop on the pleasure side and I'll get my after exercise dopamine, my high, which is really great way to get dopamine, but I don't remember it. Every day I have to remind myself anew. How does this lead into telling the truth? The stories that we tell about our lives serve as a kind of extended memory for us to remember the gremlins that we are very liable to forget. So when we're telling other people what we're actually doing in detail, it becomes real to us. We rewrite our autobiographical narratives, right? And we can't no longer deny that the behavior is happening. And in doing that, in telling that story, those autobiographical narratives don't just organize past experience, they actually become a roadmap for the future, right? So that person and I now together hold this narrative. We hold this roadmap. And if you're in a group, even a larger group, you hear other people talk. That reminds you about your own experience. It's like an extended hippocampus. We hold it together. And those words as tools and stories becomes the way then we can remember what really happens when we use our drug, which our own brains are liable not to allow us to remember, right? All we think about is, oh, that would feel so good if I really want to do that now. That would feel really good if I could do that right now, And we don't remember all the horrible, we don't remember how it really stopped feeling good a long time ago. It stopped working. It doesn't even work, right? It doesn't even work. And then afterwards I feel horrible, right? I can't remember it. All I can think of is, oh, that would feel really good right now. So telling the truth becomes absolutely fundamental. Telling the truth to another human being who you trust is really important. Telling it in a group and hearing other people's stories becomes really important because, again, it's a way that we can keep those gremlins in mind. And then in the book, I talk at length about the way that truth-telling also fosters true intimacy. We think when people see, all the icky things we've done that they'll go running, but actually they give us a big hug because we're all, struggling in this life and you're not alone in our struggles. Also, I suspect that telling the truth, and by the way, the average adult tells 1 to 2 lies per day. So everybody lies. And telling the truth is actually, if you try to go through a whole day and not lie about anything, you'll find how hard it really is to do. Because we all kind of fudge it a little bit to make ourselves look better. But if we actually tell the truth about everything and we don't let ourselves try to look better, what it does is it upregulates the prefrontal cortex, or at least that's my hypothesis. And the prefrontal cortex is the part of our brain that allows us to delay gratification, to plan for future consequences. It's also the storytelling part of our brain. It's really connected to that pleasure-pain balance and those limbic or emotion structures, and is key for putting on the brakes on compulsive overconsumption.
Wow, this is incredible. And are you familiar with the term like reboot? I know I'm not sure if it's a clinical term, but it's obviously in kind of the recovery space. Like they talk about this reboot, and that's kind of getting on the other side of the 30, 60, 90 days. So I believe kind of what I'm hearing you say is like the radical honesty, like just the openness and ability to, just tell the truth is speeding up that rebooting, rewiring process. Is that accurate?
Yeah, and also creating a kind of neurological self-binding, which I talk about. We need these self-binding strategies so that we're not relying entirely on our willpower. But yeah, it's basically the process of recovery, according to my colleague Edie Sullivan, who's looked at this. Once we get addicted, we've probably permanently damaged parts of our brain, but recovery consists of rerouting around those damaged parts and building new neural networks.